Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. This is the North Shore 9 emergency podcast. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Neil. Neil, the winner of Ben. The winner of Ben. The Pirates got Brandon Lowe and another hitter. The Pirates got two hitters today. What is going on? How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Finished up work on winter break. And now we got Christmas came early this year. Ben Cherington getting one in before the holidays. And it's a big one. I mean, and it's a rare trade where there's almost nothing to be mad about. And I don't think there's been like that one that his entire tenure here. This might be the first non-controversial trade he's ever made as Pirates GM.
This might be the first controversial trade he's made from another GM standpoint. Like as Rays fans, huh?
Yeah.
Or Astros fans, huh? We gave this to Ben Cherington?
I actually kind of like this for the Astros, but like I have no clue what the Rays are doing here. The only thing I could see is like they're trying desperately to get Ketel Marte in. And like this is their way of clearing space and money. But besides that, I have no clue. But the Astros need pitching. Burrows is a good fifth starter. I think that's probably his ceiling. But like this is such a home run for the Pirates. It's almost unbelievable they got all of this for just Mike Burrows.
I'm perplexed just for that alone.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed for one, the Pirates would have to ultimately trade Mitch Keller to get this team to where it needs to be because they're going to have to, reduce the payroll to add the hitters they need to do and stuff. And like a Mike Burrows just isn't going to bring in the quality of bats that this team kind of needs. They were able to move Mike Burrows, add in Brandon Lowe, who hits 30 home runs, even coming to PNC. Last year, you hit 27. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as if like PNC is going to zap him as PNC Park does to, a lot of hitters, but lefty hitter, infielder as well, second baseman. I know the defense is kind of skeptic, but that pop is legit. That bat is legit. This guy barrels the baseball. And to bring him in here by giving up Mike Burrows, still having Mitch Keller now, and I'm getting the feeling maybe Mitch Keller is here to stay, which can really help out that rotation. But anyways, not to go down the Mitch Keller road, giving up just Mike Burrows, getting Brandon Lowe in here. And that's not it either. Like as a one-for-one deal, I would look at this and said, that's a lot for Lowe. But if that's the cost of business to get that type of infielder, to get that type of hitter, and this team needs it, then kind of so be it. They're able to get two more pieces. And again, one being another hitter that you can plug into the lineup today also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I think we all like Mike Burrows here, but like he's never pitched a full year in the majors. In like his limited time, he showed flashes, but he was still a mid-4 ERA pitcher. He was ultimately a one-pitch guy. And so if that's the cost to get out someone who's at worst a fourth outfielder and probably the best fourth outfielder you could ever ask for, a guy who makes contact, he plays great defense, he steals bases like crazy. Like he is the perfect defensive replacement or a guy who can fill in the outfield when someone needs a day off. But then you also get a 30 home run power bat in a market where Jorge Polanco is getting $20 million a year. Like this is just great value everywhere around. Like not only are you getting a good rental, you're getting a bunch of control. You got two controllable players for the near future. Like it's a good thing. It's a really good move by the Pirates. And I just don't think Ben Cherington had this in him. But it addresses two needs in one, even three needs if you believe in Mason Montgomery, which I'm sure we'll get into. But it might fit three needs in one trade, all for Mike Burrows, and that is nuts.
Right. Yeah. So, and also we should probably break down the trade here. So the Pirates send Mike Burrows to Houston. They get a starting pitcher. The Tampa Bay Rays send Brandon Lowe, Mason Montgomery, like you just mentioned, and Jake Mangum to the Pirates. So the Pirates, again, essentially trade Mike Burrows and got 3 players out of the deal. They had their second baseman. They have now Jake Mangum has played all 3 positions, plays them defensively. He plays them extremely well. Like, that's another thing. You have a legit defender that can play all 3 outfield positions right now. That's something this team can desperately use. There's a plus. And then they got a lefty reliever in Mason Montgomery, who, like, you look at the numbers, he's 25 years old. The numbers aren't good. He had like a 5.67 ERA last year. The FIP was better. This guy, fastball slider combo, lefty, touches about 99, has great stuff. The stuff plays extremely. If you're into stuff plus, 113 on each pitch, 30% K rate, like a 12% walk rate. Like, that's what's going to have to control the walks. And I mean, is that not the Pirates' MO? Like, is this not the type of player that the Pirates seek and tend to better their careers?
Yeah. It'll be interesting because, like, sometimes you just can't fix guys who can't throw strikes. But you are getting a really good pitching coach from the Astros. And the Pirates do well with guys who do the slider fastball combo out of the bullpen. So I'm excited. I don't know if it's someone you can throw into high leverage immediately, unless like he just comes into spring training and is a new player. But again, like, he's the third piece in this, and it's just a good lefty, a good person to take a chance on. Like, it's not like it's flashy, but like the tweet I saw said, has Bailey Falter extension while throwing like Paul Skeens, as fast as Paul Skeens, and that's exciting stuff. Like, he's an
as a lefty
reliever. Yes, which is something we needed. Like, we needed another lefty in the pen. Like, again, it's hard not to like even like the smaller pieces of this trade.
So I think everyone knows Brandon Lowe, but to touch on him again, right? Like, that was the guy that seemed like the Pirates are focused in on a trade. We thought maybe Polanco was going to be a piece. They missed out on him, and I felt like it made sense. At least it's not like you heard more. You know, you heard the Pirates were in and talking with Brandon Lowe and such with the Rays, but it's not like you heard anything progressed after Polanco. It's just it made sense that was a target, and it seemed as if that was the case. Things intensified. We heard about Burrows in Houston being attached, so it seemed as if what took place was a 3-team deal came together. Maybe things weren't lining up in each way, and they said, let's join forces, and it made it happen. And like you said, so they got Brandon Lowe. That's important. You know, Brandon Lowe is a dude. Brandon Lowe is the type of hitter that when the Pirates bring him in, kind of sends a message. It kind of says, okay, they've been talking. They've been saying, you know, we want to get hitters. We need to improve this offense. This is the type of move that says, oh, they're doing it. You know, it's all talk now. Let's see something that has actually officially happened. The Garcia trade, not so much. You know, it's a trade, but it's a prospect. Who knows? Is that really going to help off this year? We'll see, but probably not. Brandon Lowe sends a message to the league that, like, hey, the Pirates aren't just all talk. They made some action today, and they got a hitter in him.
It is important, especially since they're not even like, if it was like Mitch Keller going somewhere in the street, but you're not even like adding money or losing money, but it shows like you're actually adding to payroll. You have been aggressive for free agents, whether or not you think they've been serious. I think they've at least been serious in their own way. But 100%, like, you got to get guys in. You got to have a roster that free agents will want to play for. And for someone and for a team that just hasn't abused the fact that they play in lefty power central,
right?
This is a perfect fit in terms of what they need. They needed power. They were last in home runs by a country mile last year in the league. And they needed second base because Nick Gonzalez hasn't been good enough. And so, like, this solves a lot of issues. It fills your second base hole. It's someone you can bat cleanup every day. It's someone who will play in PNC Park really well. Go get some more guys to supplement this. But, like, yes, this is a big step in the right direction. We haven't done anything like this in Ben Sherrington's entire tenure. Like, the closest was Spencer Horwitz last year, and that was just trading for a kind of an unknown, even though he had some MLB experience. So, but getting an established MLB slugger in here is huge.
What's funny is, actually, to some degree, trading for Spencer Horwitz was like trading for Jake Mangum. And you also got Jake Mangum in here. You know, like, he was not as old. I mean, Spencer Horwitz wasn't as old as Mangum, right? But there's still a lot unknown, a late developing guy who has 400 plate appearances or about that in major leagues. And it's like, who really is the guy? Like he wasn't really a top prospect, but he did come out and he did hit. Horowitz obviously better than Mangum, but to that level, like if you got Jake Mangum this year, I feel like that's kind of like a Spencer Horowitz move that happened last year. We believe this guy, still a lot of control. He's cheap, doesn't move the needle as far as payroll, but there's things to like about him. They didn't just get that. They also got Brandon Lowe. So again, like this trade, I felt like if they traded Mike Burrows and got Brandon Lowe and just one of these guys, if it was just Montgomery even, or Lowe and Mangum, I look and say, this is good. This is a good move. But they got all three of them, and that's where it's like, wow. Like Mason Montgomery might not be anything, and that's fine. That's fine. But I like the flyer. I like the profile. And again, you went into this year with Evan Sisk as your lefty. You needed to upgrade that. They went out there and they got Gregory Soto, paid $7.5 million for that, right? So they got another established lefty. Mason Montgomery just adds to that funnel, adds to that depth. There is another lefty, really tantalizing stuff. Like there's things here that you like, and it's like, hey, this is, again, the Pirates MO is taking these type of pitchers and turning into something successful. So now you have three lefties now in your bullpen that you feel pretty good in as far as like depth.
Yeah, and you said you'd be happy with one. Like if you got two of the three, I'd be happy with the 1-for-1. That was the level I was expecting. Like paying, is it uncomfortable to give up someone with 5 years of control for a rental? Yes, but that's something I would do with how this team is constructed. But like this, not only is like a good value move money wise, and it helps fill your bullpen, it helps fill your outfield and second base. It also is not terribly expensive in any capacity. So like you can now go get a starting pitcher. Like you can go get an Andrew Heaney to help eat innings in case you need that in your rotation this year. And you have plenty of space to still add on to the offense. And so, yeah, like again, it's good value. You're getting three guys who can help you right away, unlike Garcia, who might not help right away. And like, again, all for a guy who has never pitched a full season in the MLB. And
for sure.
Again, I told you before the show, all my friends, we were texting, like, there has to be more to this. There's no way the Pirates just got these three players for one guy. But it wasn't. So kudos to Ben. I don't say that often. But the winter of Ben is in full swing.
It really is. Also, shout out to Jim for the 5 memberships gifted. So thanks, Jim, and congratulations to the 5 guys or ladies that are now members of the North Shore 9 YouTube channel. Go get those sweet emojis. But yes, absolutely. Like I said earlier too, and I do agree with you. Like if it was a 1-for-1 deal, it's something that it'd be a tough swallow, right? It's like, man, like Ben lost the trade in sense of like value wise, but like if that's what it costs to get the guy that you needed, it's more important that they got Lowe than they made a fair trade, if that makes sense. So if they had to give up more to get the guy that they needed, because winning this year is important, not winning trades. So like if that's what you had to do to get the guy that you needed, then so be it. I wish it would have been more in return, but I get it. That's not what the cake, like Ben got his cake and got to eat it too here. That's what's incredible. Again, I love this trade right now because again, Brandon Lowe is that impact bat, the guys you can put in the middle of the order that is going to help this team tremendously, and especially with the power, right? But I don't want to dismiss Jake Mangum as well. I know there's a lot of unknown. He's older, right? He's a rookie at age 29, I think he is. So there's a lot of that going against him, but he held his own offensively. He just barely under a league average hitter. Really good defensively, plays all 3 positions. He's a switch hitter. He makes really good contact. He puts the ball in play. He's fast. Like his profile is he's going to get on base because he doesn't hit the ball hard. You look, if you're on a Savant, you see a lot of blue bubbles. I get that.
Yeah.
But the guy makes good contact. He's fast. He gets on base. He steals bases too. I think 27 last year and, not a full season's worth of at-bats. But I want to call me dumb, but when I look at him, it's extremely light, right? But when I look at his profile and what he is it not almost like this is Steven Kwan light that they also got in the Brandon Lowe return?
Kind of. Yeah, it's obviously hard to go say that he's anywhere close to Steven Kwan, but I'll say this. Bucko Ball Blog tweeted this out saying that Jake Mangum would be third on the team in F4 on the 2025 Pirates and the leader in positional player WAR at 1.8. So
Yeah.
at the very least, what you're getting here is, first of all, this Lowe is a big whiff guy. When you combine him with Cruz and Reynolds and the other guys in this team, this is going to be a team that strikes out a lot. And so Mangum is kind of important too because he's a guy who does not whiff. He's not going to walk, but he's a guy who will make a ton of contact, which is something the Pirates desperately need. And like you mentioned, he plays all three outfield positions, unlike Stephen Kwan. He plays all three well, and he steals bases like you wouldn't believe. So even if he's not starting, you're winning a game, defensive replacement, either for Reynolds or for Cruz. You need our offensive spark plug, pinch hit, pinch run. It's stuff we didn't have that stuff. This was an old, slow, decrepit team last year. So even people like Mangum, it doesn't look pretty, and it's not like, wow, this is an amazing player, but you do need guys like this. Every team has them. And every playoff team has their speedy. And again, that's his floor. He will be an MLB player for a long time, even if it's just a bench player. But when you look at the Pirates outfield since 2020, he's probably behind Cruz and Reynolds, probably one of the better guys we have had play who's going to put me in outfield this decade.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I want to point out again, like the fact that he's a switch hitter is kind of important. And also the fact that he hit righties as a lefty better. You know, he hit 304 versus righties. And I think it was like a 102 weighted runs created plus against righties. And again, like he's an average hitter, but Neil, I can't say this enough and stress it enough. If this team went out and got 4 Jake Mangums, this team's also probably close to being a playoff team. Like we talk so much that this team only needs to be a below average hitting team to be considered a playoff team. They don't need to be an average or above average. Like this team doesn't need to hit at like a 110 weighted runs created plus level on the season and just bomb away to be in the playoffs. They just need to be slightly bad. They just can't be bad. So again, like what I like about this too is again, especially with the 2 moves that are made, the floor of this team has just risen tremendously. Again, he's not going to go out there like Jake Mangum is not going to hit this team into a victory, but left field was at like a -1 WAR last year in total.
Mm-hmm.
If you just put him in there in left field as is, like that's a 3 WAR difference. He's just your average hitter who hits for great contact, not a lot of power, steals a lot of bases, and has really good defense. Like he helps this. He raises the floor of this team in a big way. And the fact that he's a switch hitter, maybe you can platoon, like maybe there's a Garcia Mangum platoon in some way or another. Maybe there's another, move that's made and you kind of sit Garcia in the minor leagues and develop him. It gives you a lot of options, but you have your dude in the middle of the lineup. And again, Jake Mangum here helps increase the floor of this offense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that like he'll hit your way into wins, but he is a guy who can run and defend your way into some wins.
Yes.
Like he is a guy like who can make that clutch catch in the 9th inning or the 8th inning with runners in scoring position. He's a guy who can steal you a base, basically cause chaos like that. And that is something that the Pirates have kind of wanted to do. They wanted to do that at G1 Bay. They wanted to do that with Cruz before his ankle got snapped in half. Like it's something they've tried to do. So like it's good to have this. And again, even if he is never a starter, even if he never replicates last season, I am still okay with it because he still also plays on this team. Mm-hmm. I don't even need him to put up 2 WAR. I just need him to be a reliable plug-in piece. And this team is infinitely better because last year, who was our 4th outfielder? I couldn't even tell you who our 4th outfielder was last year. Like Canario? Like that Canario was our 4th outfielder. Like it's so much.
And now he's playing in Japan.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Like it's such an upgrade. And maybe that just tells you how bad the team was last year that like we're excited for a Jake Mangum, but like it does something that ticks a lot of the boxes that this last year's Pirates team didn't have.
Absolutely. It does. And again, like Lau's only going to be 1 year, but you need that. Like you need to win this year. Having him on this team is important. Worry about how you replace him next year, but at least maybe he helps this team be good. And now Pittsburgh's looked at as a better destination the following year, and you're able to get that replacement a much easier way. You know, the options might be different or such. But with Mangum, like he has 1 year of service time. I know he's older, but like think about that too. He's going to be cheap. Like you're never extending him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's going to be 30 years old actually on opening day next year. He has 1 year of service time only. You know, he's a free agent in 31. Like this dude, you just sit on him. And he's probably not going to, last the whole contract. If he does, like kudos to him also. But like you don't have to worry about him being expensive or whatever. Like you just have him on here and you let him go whenever his time's up.
Exactly.
So he's going to be on this team for a long time, very cheap. And again, what he provides, I think ideally, like if he is your fourth outfielder, like that's the perfect guy to be your fourth outfielder. If he has to start, again, for this type of team, the way they're constructed, it's okay as long as they also still make like the next move. Like there still has to be something coming, which I want to talk to as well, because like you mentioned earlier too, this trade, getting 3 pieces still with the money exchange and such, this kind of puts them at, I want to guesstimate, Ethan, come at me, but I'm going to say it's roughly about $78 million that this puts him at. And like, if that's the case, there's still money to be spent, even with, as mentioned, Mitch Keller on the team still.
Yeah. And I'll say this, because like they definitely do need to add, because the one concern I have about Lowe is the fact that he gets hurt quite often. And it hasn't really hurt his hitting, but it is something that you have to consider, that like you probably can't be throwing him out there 150 games at second base.
Sure.
You got to build in some DH days. You got to protect him, because he's going to be extremely important to like this team's success. And so like going forward, I think you have to be cognizant of that. So like some people have mentioned Marcell Ozuna. Personal issues aside, he would be a good fit. He's being undervalued by the market right now. He played hurt and still put up a good hitting season. But this is where, for me, like guys like Brendan Donovan have to come in, because Donovan can play third and second base. He can also fill in an outfield if you need to. If you want to get Okamoto to play third base, like there is a lot of ways that you can build around this. And like Nick Gonzalez I think Nick Gonzalez as a bench backup infielder is actually pretty solid. It's probably his level. So he can even fill in on days that Lowe needs to go to DH to protect his back. But like you do have to be flexible here. You have to get some more pieces in, because he's not going to play 160 games a second. It's just not going to happen.
I agree. Like the one thing that this team has is options. But again, as we talked about all off season, this team's bad. They need to find bats however they can. We'll figure out later. So, but that is why I do like you mentioned, like a Donovan. That's why I do like those players, like a Polanco to some level, players with some flexibility, because it just allows other things to kind of play in. I'm absolutely with you. I mean, Lowe did play 134 games last year. Like the injury bug wasn't as relevant last year, but that has been a situation. 2022, 65 games, 109 in 23, 107 in 2004. Last year, again, of course, 134. So he did play close. And again, in today's terms, close to a full season, as you can pretty much get to. When it comes to injuries, though, like unless it's something chronic, like they just happen, I'm willing to take on that player and say, like, let's see what goes, because injuries are freaky, and even the most consistent guy can be injured this year. It just happens. Now I get there's a track history, right? So there's probably more percentage of that happening, but injuries can be fluky, and guys who have been injury riddled in their career all of a sudden just stop at times. Like it's just again they're kind of fluky at times and such. But
hear me out though. This is back injuries, and we have a traumatic past with back injuries.
I know. I do know. But like you said with DH, I think there's a lot of what I do like about how the Pirates can utilize their DH this year, especially not getting like a full-time Schwarber, is the mix and match. And again, not to go and toot on my Kutch horn, but like having a Kutch on this team makes sense, because I do like him in the DH role. I like him in a limited DH role. So it's like if he's playing 3 to 4 times a week, that allows maybe Lowe to go in once a week or maybe twice, and someone else. Like you can use that. You can do mix and matching and whatnot. I think that makes Kutch at his best, in limited capacity and such, but also allowing guys like Lowe to like have that pseudo day off. Hey, just go up the bat 4 times today. That's it. But also too, it's like I'm assuming he's a second baseman. I'm assuming it because again, I think what's best. I think ultimately they want to try to find a way to bring Kutch back. They want to try to find a way to use the DH spot as like a rotating position in that sense. If you're not getting a guy like, I guess, Ozuna or even Ozuna, I'm like, I mean, do I really want that guy? But we're not going to go that route. Like a Schwarber, he's cemented DH. Maybe it ain't for Kutch. But without that guy, maybe you find a way to like utilize the DH as that rotating day off in some sense. But again, what I want to allude to here is the fact that this does still open up another move to come. So like, are they still in on Murakami, who on Monday at 5 p.m. is going to have to make that decision? Can they fit that in here now? Potentially, even with keeping Mitch Keller. But there's still enough room to add another bat here. And I do think, again, this alone doesn't make them a playoff team, but this is certainly getting them there in that conversation.
I'll say 2 things toward that. Like, I do think they probably need 2 more bats if we're being serious, just because Cruz because Cruz and Reynolds were a bit of question marks last year. So like the offense like still isn't like as stable as you would like it. But what they do need, and the reason I would put him at second base and you kind of deal with the bad defense as much as you can, is because you need another bat. And the easiest way to fill that right now, like if you look at the market, is trying to upgrade at DH. You're not going to find a good shortstop. Okamoto would be a good one. I think he also is a guy who doesn't strike out a whole lot, contact guy, and he's a right. But we need a right-handed bat. Like we need a right-handed bat badly. This is a very lefty-heavy lineup at the moment, even with getting Mangum in. So like that's where I know Zuna comes in, or an Okamoto. I know I mentioned Donovan. Donovan's a lefty. I still think he's a guy you should target anyway. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like this is not a complete offense, but we are getting there. And and I think unfortunately you have to live with Lowe's bad defense second to make room for a better hitter at DH. And I love Kutch, but like if we want to be serious, we have to aim higher than what Kutch gave us last year. And I hate saying it. It feels like poison to say, but like we have to be serious about this. Get a better hitter in and go from there, because this team now actually has some potential to make a playoff push.
Yeah. I do want to add something here also, because again, I want to stress this, and I hate doing it at the expense, like I'm trashing the guy, but to put in realistic measures. People want to bring up and talk about Lowe's defense. He was a negative 13 defensive runs last year. If you care about that stat, I do. I'm a proponent of, outside of average defensive run save. Of course, there's some, it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect, but it gives you a good idea. Nick Gonzalez is a negative 11 last year. Again, I don't want to harp on him so much, but Nick Gonzalez was not good defensively last year. He just simply was not good. He took a big step back last year. Negative 4 defensive runs last year in 2023. 24. And then last year, negative 11. He made a lot of routine errors. And again, I point out, there's a lot of time, like just Henry Davis throwing it down to take out a guy stealing a base that could have been an out, because Henry Davis's arm was really good last year. How many times have we seen Nick Gonzalez just not catch the ball or fumble it or not do the attack? Like Nick Gonzalez was not good defensively last year. So what I'm trying to say is, even though Brendan Lowe's not good defensively at second base, the trade-off for having similar defensive abilities at second base to have the bat that he has, to me, is tremendous, because Nick Gonzalez as a hitter was also 19% below league average last year, close to that. I don't think Nick Gonzalez is as bad as he was last year. I want to say that, but we don't know really what Nick Gonzalez is. There's been a lot of ups and downs. He has these hot streaks. Then he has these really cold streaks. He's very streaky. he swings at everything. He doesn't walk much at all either. And his defense wasn't good either. So to get a guy who's going to be a stud hitter at second base and might be a little bit worse defensively, but again, I don't think it's going to be all that much worse defensively than what you had last year. This is a win at second base still. Like, I'm still fine having Lowe at second base this year.
Yeah. And like I said, you can't do it full time, but I agree. Like, just the way second base works in this league is there's just not that many good hitters. And so the positional value we're getting from Brandon Lowe playing second base, I think outweighs his defense if struggles. And for a team like the Pirates, you want to be perfect everywhere, but with the budget that we're on, you can't be. Just the reality of our situation. So, like, get someone else in, deal with some bad defense. You have a pitching staff that is good. Your outfield defense should be much improved now with Mangum. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I really am. And maybe I'll be in my words like in May when like Lowe boots like a double play against the Reds. But like until then, just
but he hits a walk-off against the Mets on opening day. I guess it wouldn't be a walk-off. It'd be a go-ahead. But still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's what he's going to give you, though. Like, he is going to give you moments offensively, and that's going to outshine what you see defensively. And again, based on what last year was, and I also, again, one of the preferences, like, I do think Nick Gonzalez can be and will be better, but based on what he was last year, it's not going to much work. If you're trying to improve on the 76 wins you had last year, this certainly improves it. And again, like, I don't think he's playing full time at second base, but like, I think him playing there, I'm perfectly fine with that bat and what it's going to do. And like you mentioned about picking and choosing, with this Pirates pitching, it's really, really good. And then you have guys like Paul Skeens in there and potentially Bubba Chandler and still like all the other guys outside of now Burrows. Sorry. I was going to say Barco. Burrows. Like, Burrows in there. Like, these are strikeout pitchers too. You're hoping there's not a whole lot of balls in play for them to mess up on either. So yeah, anyways, I love this deal for the Pirates. And again, this still sets them up in a very nice way to make that next move.
Yeah. And what's nice also is that for once in his life, Ben Cherington is getting stuff done early. He is not waiting till late January or early February to get his business done. And that's important for the free agent part because guys are going to start choosing. You better get your trades out of the way to make this team look as appealing as possible for someone who wants to spend 1 or 2 years here.
Yeah, I'll say this. Can we be a little bit more fair on that? Let's just say he was on time. I don't want to say too much he was early. It's still happening the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's just say it was on time. It wasn't late, though. But it wasn't so much early. If it was done at the winter meetings, maybe. Because free agents are falling off the board as we speak. But there's still plenty out there.
Yeah.
So
it's all good. He got a trade that I never expected him to pull off. Even if he did this in February, I think we would all be extremely happy with this. But
if this wasn't the only move that was made, if we didn't have to wait till February, like you're alluding to.
Yeah, 100%. But
and it ended up being the only move because it's February.
This is probably the only time it's probably the first half hour of my life I've been only positive about Ben Cherington.
Hey, you opened up saying, was this the best move he's made? And I think it is. The best time is the present. The first best time would have been 3 years ago. But the second best time, I guess, is now.
I have been pounding the table for Brandon Lowe for 2 years. And so, like, again, I'm just happy he did it. He listened. If he listened to me more often, we'd be a playoff team.
So there you have it. There's our reaction. There's our thoughts on this. I think it's a very good trade. Congratulations, Ben Cherington. You did it. You did it. The winner of
Dennis Nine seal approval.
That's right. That's right. See, we're not just always a hater. We're objective.
Yeah.
Just usually Ben doesn't do it. Today he did. So congratulations. We'll be back tonight. Jim Rosati, I'll be hosting The Point as we do every other Friday. Nice group of guests on. I'm sure they have something to talk about. That's going to be nice. So tune in tonight, 8 o'clock, The Point. And then, I don't know, is there more to come? We'll do an emergency podcast for those as well. But it's a good day. I'm excited. I am happy.
I am too.
All right.
Cherish these days. Cherish these days.
Like, subscribe, follow us if you don't. We have plenty of content that goes out talking about the Pirates. If I'm going to brag and boast a little bit, we do a really good job. So
yes,
follow us, like the video, subscribe. We'll see you guys later. We love all of you. Bye-bye.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.